action. 2021, let's do this. It's been a while since I've been in the studio here. I've been out and about, obviously. More out and about to come as well. I hope you liked the Century vlogs where we were driving through the country in my friend's Toyota Century and taking photos, very run and gun. More of that to come because I did go back to the South Island at the end of last year and I've got all of that to share with you. So look out for that. Otherwise, today we're just going to be talking about lenses, specifically two lenses. A lens that's become my go-to, my favorite, which is this. This is the EF-S 18-135 versus the EF-M 18-150. I want to talk about pros and cons and which one might be right for you. Now, as I said, this has become my go-to lens. This 18-135 I bought sort of late in the year last year. I found it on special and it's been my go-to lens. It's been super sharp. It's got a great zoom range. It's not the longest in the super zoom type of lens range, but it's got a good throw. I mean, 18's nice and wide. I can vlog quite comfortably with an 18mm lens, but also it has enough zoom on it that for most cases I can get quite close to my subjects, and I've got my 55 to 250 if I need to go closer again, but generally this is kind of like if you went on holiday, this is the lens to take. Now in the EF-M range for the M6 Mark II, which I do have, they do have a native 18-150 lens. This lens is not the actual lens, as you can see. It's a bit of paper I cut out, printed, roughly to scale, like roughly to scale, because I don't have this lens. However, when it came down to buying a super zoom lens for day-to-day stuff, I had to make the choice between these two. So I want to run you through the sort of pros and cons between them, because this might be a better choice for you, or maybe if you can get your hands on one of these. These are hard to get now. The new version is the USM. It's kind of a mixture between USM and STM. Same glass, different package, has a few features that it's not quite as fast as this one in terms of autofocus and things like that, but it's quite a good lens. But native glass does have a lot of advantage. For example, this one right here, if you look at the size difference here, I'm holding that around the wrong way. If you look at the size difference, this lens, when I have looked at it, the actual lens, it's very similar to the Sigma 16mm. And in fact, the EF-S 18-135 is also quite similar in size. So in terms of how far it sticks out of your camera, it's going to be 6 or 1/2 dozen of the other in terms of the actual lens size. But as you can see on here, I also have the Canon adapter, because this is an EF-S lens. It's not native to the EF-M format, so you need the adapter to get it to fit on your camera. This increases the length by a good inch, basically. So again, it's going to be bigger, it's going to stick out further. And when it comes to things like using it with a gimbal, it's much harder to balance with this than it would be with something more native in size without the adapter, and also with less weight, because the big difference between the EF-M and the EF-S is that the EF-S is heavier. The EF-S is 480 grams, which is close to half a kg, whereas the EF-M is only about 300 grams, which is significantly lighter. So when you are vlogging, traveling, and it's the one lens you're carrying, this is lighter. It's going to be easier to balance on a gimbal if that's what you need to do as well. So a big advantage in weight and size and compact nature of this lens versus this one, which is going to be longer off the end of your camera, longer in your camera bag, and also weighing more. So when weight's a factor, especially when you're traveling, advantage goes to the EF-M 18-150. Being super zoom variants, of course, they do have a little bit of a shifting aperture when you zoom. In this case, the EF-M goes from 3.5 to 6.3, whereas the EF-S goes 3.5, same starting aperture, up to 5.6. So when it comes to the aperture, it's not a huge difference because you've got to remember that this does go to 150mm at 6.3, whereas this only going to 135 at 5.6. At that 135 mark, it's going to be pretty much the same. They're both going to be around that 5.6 mark. At the same time though, because this does have a shorter throw than the 150, regardless of focal length, you do tend to get a little bit less distortion on the 135. I mean, comparing this to my EF-S 55 to 250, at the same sort of throws, anywhere between 55 and 135, this produces much sharper images than my 250. Even at the same focal length. And again, it's because the longer the lens throws, the more likely you're going to get distortion or even just softer images out of a lens. That's why primes are often sharper than zooms. So a zoom with a shorter throw range is always going to be sharper than a zoom with a longer throw range. That's generally how the physics works with the light, and that's why you're going to get softer, slightly softer images out of the EFM than the EF-S. Another advantage to the EF-S, I've talked about mounts already and how this is a native mount and this is only mountable with an adapter, is that the EF-S also fits the EF mount. So these do fit more cameras. So if you do go for a different camera setup and you do want to say go to a 90D because you want the weatherproofing, you want the larger camera, and you're going to be using that in conjunction with your M6 Mark II, then this is a more versatile lens because you can swap it around, whereas the EFM lens, you're stuck with just EFM format cameras. Filter size is also something to consider if you're running multiple lenses. It's always a good idea when you're buying filters to go for the larger size and use adapter rings to adapt down to the smaller size filter threads. The EFM 18-150 is a 55mm filter thread. The EF-S 18-135 is a 67mm filter thread. Now my largest filter thread size is my 16mm Sigma, which again is a 67mm filter thread. So I have adapter rings for all of my other lenses to step down from that 67mm filter thread. The 55, I need another ring, so it's another thing I have to buy, whereas with this, it's my native filter thread size, so it's perfectly adaptable. Again, very specific depending on the range of lenses you have, but if you're collecting lenses like I have been, then you're probably, and especially if you started with a 16mm Sigma, which I do recommend as one of the first primes you should buy, this is going to have that advantage of not needing another adapter ring to go on it. So in conclusion, I mean, there are a few things to consider. I think they're good lenses, both of them. The 18-135 is definitely a sharper lens. It produces really clean, really amazing images, which, as you will see if you watch a lot of my Instagram posts, a lot of my photos now are on this lens, and it's a fantastic lens. And I went for it for a few reasons. The biggest reason though, which I've left off so far, is price. At the moment, in New Zealand, the 18-150 lens is a whopping 800 plus, like between $800 and $900. You usually get on special maybe for about $750 to $800. But that's a lot of money for me, right? This cost me $325, new, not secondhand, new. Yes, it was on special, but generally speaking, you'll find this 18-135 at about half the price. So for me, the additional weight, which is its main disadvantage, and having to use the adapter to fit it to the camera, compared to the price, the 18-150, in my mind, wasn't worth twice the price than the 18-135. That's why I chose this lens. It really comes down to what you want the most, what matters to you the most. Is a native lens important? Is having that little bit extra throw important? And is weight considerations important? If all those three boxes get ticked, 18-150 is the way to go. If you want to save a little bit of money, you want really good sharp images and a lens that will cover you for most of what you want to do, then I think the 18-135 is the best choice on the market. I do get a lot of questions about the adapter too, by the way. Everyone on comments is always saying, what is the adapter that you use? I'm sure I mentioned it in some of the videos, but in case you missed it, it is simply just the Canon adapter. If you look up EFM to EF adapter for Canon on Canon's website, you will find this adapter. Simple as that. That said, I'll try to remember to link it below. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have a great 2021, and we'll see you in more videos definitely this year. Also, I just want to point out that we just hit 200 subs, and I want to thank every one of you from the bottom of my heart. I had a goal for 2020 to get to 100 subscribers, and I've doubled that goal to 200. So hey, why not? Let's see if we can get us to 1,000. If you like this video, if you know anybody you think will benefit from videos for the Canon M6 Mark II, please like this video and share it. That's all I'm going to ask you to do. And see if your friends would like to subscribe. That'd be great. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification so that you get notified of my new videos as they post. And I guess that's about it. Thank you very much. Instagram, that's the other thing. All the photos I take on my trips, I post on Instagram with the details of the settings that I use for those photos if you are interested. So visit my Instagram too. That would be cool. Thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video very, very soon. Until next time, just go out and create. See you later.